We had a short weekend in Luxembourg and we jumped right in. Shortly after checking into our hotel, we headed over to the Place d'Armes, where a music festival was underway, to meet up with our walking tour of the city. Just to clarify, that is a walking and wine tour.
I also have still water, okay? So if you need still water, just let me know.
As it turned out, there were no takers for the still water.
So like when we cheers, we say Prost.
Off to a refreshing start.
Okay, Prost.
The walking tour was a good way to get oriented in the city, get to see where everything is, catch some spectacular views, and then afterwards, as evening approached, the music festival really picked up, with free shows like this one all over town. Day 2 begins in this bakery, where we had a nice little continental breakfast. Followed by a short wander through the local street market. Then we hopped onto the free tram to get to the free bus station where the free buses are. All the public transportation in Luxembourg is free. We rode the bus over to the town of Remich on the German border, where we would rent bicycles and tour the Moselle River wineries. That, right there on the other side of the river, and that's Germany. Of course, there's no border control whatsoever because we're in the EU. So we thought we would wander over and get a juice in Germany, then head back.
Bubble tea is good.
They're the little bursts of things. You know, you take a bite and go, fruit juice.
After our weird German bubble tea, it's back across the river to Luxembourg to rent a couple bikes and head off and find some wineries. This nice wide bike path is wider than many of the roads at home in England, makes for a lovely and safe way to get around when you want to go taste some wine and you don't want to drive. The first stop is Saint-Martin. They produce a range of wines, but what they do best is a sparkling wine that they can't call champagne, which they make in these caves. They follow the champagne process, which means the wine has to be carbonated in the bottle with yeast. Yeast is removed by freezing the top of the bottle with the yeast in it, uncapping it, letting the carbonation fire out the frozen yeast block, and then recorking it. This machine here is involved in that needlessly complicated operation. Okay, so after all that, how does it taste? Looks like it's good. This place, an unplanned stop, was amazing. They have an extensive wine list. They let us try all kinds of wine, and they didn't charge us a penny for the tasting.
So good.
We dropped the bikes off in a quaint little town down the road, and we set out on foot towards the town of Wormeldon. Built in 1592. Even today, it still looks new. So good. Our destination was this little restaurant up here on top of the hill with a staggeringly nice view. Great place for lunch, and then off we went back down to the river to catch the bus and head back into Luxembourg City. On our last full day, we hopped on the buses again to go off to see the American Cemetery, where more than 5,000 American service members are buried, many of whom lost their lives in the Battle of the Bulge. A sobering reminder of the horrors of war. This is also where General Patton asked to be buried alongside his men. Next stop is Echternach, and the first place we're going in Echternach is the old Roman villa. The way to the villa is marked by this goofy character. The remains of this sprawling 3rd century Roman villa are very impressive. Inside the museum, interpretive displays give you an idea of what life might have been like for the incredibly rich Roman family that was there. Jamie is inspecting the facilities in the extensive bath area, including underfloor heating. After extensive damage to the original structure during the French Revolution, the above-ground portion of the Abbey of Echternach is a modern 19th and 20th century reconstruction of the original 11th century Romanesque building. The abbey is dedicated to Saint Willibrord, a 7th century Irish monk who founded the original abbey and who is the patron saint of Luxembourg. The crypt below is much older, dating to the original 11th century structure. And down here, these faint frescoes are original to that 900-year-old building. Returned to the site in 1906, the remains of St. Willibrord himself are in this ornate marble sarcophagus. Every spring on Whit Tuesday, a session of hopping devotees, pictured here, make their way to the church to honor their patron saint. A small museum adjacent to the abbey includes some footage of the dancing procession, examples of some of the saints carried in those processions, the original mosaic tile floor from the nearby Roman villa, this fragment of a reading desk thought to date from the original church of St. Willibrord, and some fancy illuminated manuscripts produced by the monks who lived in the abbey, and the remains of some of those monks. We took the bus back to Luxembourg City. The statue of the Grand Duchess Charlotte, hero to the nation during World War II, greeted us as we headed in to check out the Notre Dame Cathedral. The cathedral was first built in the 17th century and then expanded in the 20th. As was true in the Abbey of Echternach, the crypt here is of interest. The ducal crypt, guarded by these fantastic lion sculptures, includes numerous members of the royal family, including the Grand Duchess Charlotte, who from exile inspired the resistance movement in occupied Luxembourg. On a lighter note, there's one order of business that I would be remiss to overlook. The Tin Tin hunt continues, as it always does. Got one. It's in French. I don't think it's in Luxembourgish. I don't think they have them in Luxembourgish, but French will work.